Primary ignition.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Life at Lightspeed podcast. My name is Colin.
And I'm Brooke.
And we're here to talk about
Star Wars.
That's right, Star Wars. And there is a lot of Star Wars. Specifically, crazy thing about, but 3 Star Wars games were announced this week. 2 at the Game Awards, and then earlier this week. And it was funny because there were leaks. And when the digital card game was announced, everyone thought that was going to be like the big Star Wars game news. And then the Game Awards happened, and we got not 1 but 2 really cool Star Wars games announced. And the Galactic Racer, that game is actually coming out next year. We don't know anything about the fate of the Old Republic game, but I am excited for that. And then there's some news about Maul Shadowlord, which is really cool. Before we get started, we wanted to thank everyone from the Life at Lightspeed family, including the Virtual Cantina Network family. Speaking of, we got some really cool news that dropped earlier today, and I'm gonna read a quick summary from our great founder and just amazing human being, Spencer. Here we go. The Virtual Cantina Network just revealed a major partnership. They're joining the founding fleet as investors in the brand new Scum and Villainy location opening in Burbank, California, right by the AMC 16 and the Batman statue. The new spot will be called Scum and Villainy Rendezvous. This new venue will be twice the size of the classic Scum Cantina, with 2 floors and a focus on being a full nerd haven. Expect live podcasts, gaming events, seminars, and training sessions. Basically, a home base for fans of any genre. VCN also announced that one of their 2 2027 events will be hosted in this new location. That event will be ticketed, but members of the founding fleet get free entry to the VCN Celebration event during Celebration Week 2027, plus open bar all night for 1 person. The reveal of which VCN event lands at the rendezvous will come later, but VCN recommends planning to be in LA the full week before Star Wars Celebration 2027 for all festivities. Spencer highlights that VCN isn't being compensated for sharing this. They simply wanted their community to hear about the opportunity early. The project is still in the testing waters phase for crowdfunding, so no money is being accepted yet until legal filings are complete. Honestly, is so cool. I have seen so many people go to the Scum and Villainy Cantina that's actually in California. So the fact they're making a second location and then it's going to be more massive than that is absolutely insane.
I mean, 2 floors, come on.
Yeah, and
amazing.
And not just that, there's also going to be it sounds like there is a lot of celebrity involvement. Kevin Smith actually was part of the launch video of this, which is super cool. So if you want all the details, go to the celebration group on Facebook. All the information is there, including on Spencer's page. But yeah, so very exciting things in the future. But yeah, so let's talk about the card game. So this is a digital card game that was announced recently. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I've never been a card game, like that kind of card game kind of person. They always confused me. They were always too confusing for me. But card games are they're so popular. Like I think about like the Disney Lorcana game, or even just, you think to Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, those kind of games. They've always been so popular, and there really hasn't been like a big Star Wars one. So, or
Well,
has there?
well,
And I just missed it.
so there have been a couple, but the thing with this is it's going to be a digital card game.
Yeah.
So
Which is interesting because I guess to me, kind of the appeal is that like the artwork on the cards, right? Like I've considered even getting into some card games just because like the artwork is so cool and pretty. And I feel like collecting them, like you see people with their big books and they've got all the slots and like that's cool. Like I feel like so that's kind of the appeal. So I wonder if that will hurt in some way if it's just digital. Or do you think they'll do like a thing where like you can buy the physical cards and then it's kind of one of those things you like scan a code or something and then it goes digital,
So
you
these are
know?
all great questions, and I actually have a quote
A quote.
from Corey Jones, who is the CEO of CCG Lab, and they are one of the collaborators on this new digital card game. So they said, together with 036 Studio and Lucasfilm Games, we're creating something truly exciting for players and fans alike, an experience that celebrates the joy of play in a galaxy far, far away. Our mission is to craft an experience that captures the thrill, adventure, and heart of Star Wars, a game that feels instantly familiar yet constantly surprising. And there's no official release date for it. It's just
They want you to know it's coming.
it's coming, and it's not that, but we, like I said, we got two other games. The first game that was announced over at the Game Awards was Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic. And this is not a direct sequel to any of the Knights of the Old Republic games. This is it sounds like this is like the end of the Old
Dun,
Republic
dun,
era, leading
dun.
into what eventually becomes the High Republic. Um what's super cool is that the person that was behind Mass Effect and a bunch of the other Knights of the Old Republic games has come back, and he's doing this game, and it sounds very familiar to those games and slightly different at the same time. There's no official release date of it, but I loved playing Knights of the Old Republic games. They were fantastic, and I actually had a interview with one of the voice actors who did the voice of, where he described all of the of what the Jedi uh saber crystals, like of what each one meant. And I forget which of the Night of the Old Republic games, but he was the voice of the guy that described him, and he was so passionate about it because he was like, this is a big deal. So um I'm very excited to see of where we go with this, because a lot of us fans have been asking for more Knights of the Old Republic, or just that era, just more content of that. So, did you ever play any of the
I
Knights of the
can't.
Old Republic
No,
games? Or
I didn't. I am unfamiliar with that time. What console did you play them on?
uh, there was there was the computer. There was
Mm.
on the original Xbox. Um, there was a lot, and I believe the second game is actually remastered on
Oh,
Xbox currently. Now when I say remastered, I'm not saying like, remade. It's not in like new graphics. It's just slightly different. It's kind of like what they did with the original Star Wars Battlefronts, but yeah. So with that being said, there is no release date for it, but I am very, very excited to see of what they end up doing with it, because that era is such a fan favorite, and a lot of people have been asking for a TV show. So hopefully this does well, and that opens up more doors for that, because I think everyone wants to see Darth Darth Raven and Darth Malik and all those characters come to the screen and have them do it justice. So hopefully this game does well, because that might open up more doors.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm. And then the other surprise of the night was Galactic Racer, and that made me very excited, because I am a huge fan of the original pod racing game that came out all those years ago. And this is taking place um during the Imperial kind of Remnant era, so around the Mandalorian timeline, most likely, because you actually get to go to Jakku, and you are racing in that Imperial graveyard, and we know that that battle took place after the Battle of Endor in Return of the Jedi. So, with that being said, I think there's going to be a lot to look forward to. It sounds like you'll be able to customize your own vehicle.
I was gonna say, I hope, right? Like you can't have a cool racing game and not get to like customize your ride.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to. It sounds like you'll be able to race your friends online because they said the game will be single player but also multiplayer.
Oh, love that.
You're also playing a main character at first called Shade, and it sounds like he wants things to go back to the way they were with like pod racing and stuff, but also it looks like he's out for revenge. We don't know against who. And it doesn't look like it's just normal pod racing. And actually, I don't think we actually saw a traditional pod racer in the actual trailer. It just looks like a bunch of different speeders and ships just remodeled, and it looks like you can jump from third and first person, which is super cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that game's coming out in 2026. We don't know when in 2026, but it's coming out next year, which is adding to the roster of how crazy next year is going to be.
Big thing.
Yes. But I want to know what you think because you love Mario Kart. And
who doesn't love Mario Kart?
Yeah. And I know you love racing games in general. So
actually, Mario Kart's just about the only racing game that I like.
Okay.
I tend to be very bad. Like whenever I'm playing a video game and there's something that requires like racing or like a timed thing, terrible. Oh, I'm so bad. But Mario Kart, I'm like secretly really, really good at Mario Kart. You and I are decently matched, but I feel like people just like don't expect like me to be decently good.
I expected you would be when we first started dating.
Okay, yeah, but you're different. Like whenever we get together with either like friends or family, and they're like, "Let's play Mario Kart." Like I usually end up being one of the best ones, and everyone's always like, "What the heck?" So yes, I do love Mario Kart, but maybe I'm good at it because I've played it so much.
Yeah.
But I know I'm super excited for. I basically love anything that's like Star Wars. So
really,
yeah. So yeah, no, I'm super stoked for that, and I'm excited to see like what it's like. And I just video games is something I would like to get more into. Like I've always loved them, but I will admit that like in my life, I'm a busy person, and a lot of times that gets pushed under the rug, and I don't get to play them as much as I would like. But I'm excited for the new ones and to actually get some time to play them.
No, I mean, when I just feel like our house is going to be in a very competitive mode once that game comes out because you and I are just going to be.
I know we're going to have to get a couple. Well, can we get them for a couple different consoles?
Well, they haven't. I believe they have not announced that the game will be cross-platform or not.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I haven't even gotten to finish the Cal Kestis games. I watched you play quite a bit of them, and I played a chunk of the first one, and I love it, love it. But I have not gotten a chance to finish.
I remember when Fallen Order came out, that was a big deal. 2019 in general was just a huge deal for Star Wars because we had the final film in the sequel trilogy. You had The Mandalorian, and then you had Jedi Fallen Order. And one of my best friends, Chris Mayett, him and I both got the game at the same time, and he came over for the weekend over at the apartment that we were living in, and we played all weekend long, and we were just kind of like not racing, but like just trying to see like who
it's
could.
So funny. I have never. Maybe this is just not something I've experienced ever in my life, but it cracked me up because he's like, oh yeah, Chris is coming over to play the game, and what I wasn't expecting is for Chris to show up with his own TV, his own gaming console, walking through my front door, and I'm like, okay, you move it in, like. It was just so like they're each in different rooms, right? Because like the sounds they can't. And
we would jump back and forth and be like, "Oh my god, did you see
your
that?
Head out? How you doing?"
And that's a sign of true friendship. It was
very cute. It was so cute.
Yeah, I was gonna say so. there was some suspicion that maybe we were, and maybe a pipe dream, that we would maybe get the episode. I mean, not the episode. Like an announcement of the third Jedi game in the series, or Star Wars Battlefront 3. I think Star Wars Battlefront 3 was more of a pipe dream, just
Like
because.
the Fallen Order games? Is that what you mean? Or
Right. And
did they say that they were going to do it in a trilogy?
well, pretty much yes.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
like said that the third game will be the final
I
installment.
think trilogies are nice, you know?
Yeah,
3 is just a nice number.
right. And for that game series in particular, I think we will get the third game. My suspicion is that either like we'll have an announcement next year, and then it would come out in 2027. That's the hope and dream. But if not, then most likely we'll probably get it in uh like in 2027, like near the end of the year. And I think they'll, drop a full trailer over at Star Wars Celebration, and then they'll like release it that fall.
Well, at the very least, they're going to want to space this stuff out, right? Like they've
Yeah.
got 2 games coming out next year, so they're not going to want to release that one like too soon.
Yeah.
They'll want to spread it out a little bit.
Yeah. But for Star Wars Battlefront 3, I think that I just don't know. I know everyone wants it. I know the game did well. I'm still kind of sour about them canceling the second game to go make Battlefield 2042, and that game just did not. That was not a game that you should have like transferred over to, because I mean, come on. If you played that game, then you know that Star Wars Battlefront 2 was actually getting more to its peak point, because the plans that I heard that they were working on Star Wars Battlefront 3, I mean, for Star Wars Battlefront 2, they were planning on adding Ahsoka and Ventress.
Yeah, there's
on
a lot
Coruscant,
of characters
and
that I feel like they
yeah,
should add.
I was so bummed.
I mean, I can't say that I played that game a lot, but
Yeah.
I watched you play that game a lot. And I tried to get into it, but
Yeah.
again, busy life. And it was just so cool. What a cool concept. But yeah, definitely like could have used some more characters.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm hoping down the road that we don't get like a full out reboot where it's like, here's the next Star Wars Battlefront, and then it's just like 1, and then they're gonna work on 2, and then I just go to 3, because right now there's this really sad tradition of Star Wars Battlefronts not making it past the second number. And I really hope that we get the third eventually, and that EA locks in and they actually are just like, here we go. I've just got fond memories of playing that game at launch. I love the campaign. I was there at the actual launch, like of the world premiere, like trailer launch over at Star Celebration in 2017. And the room was just ecstatic. I remember I was towards the front, and then I had the privilege of meeting the actress who played Idem Versio from Inferno Squadron in that game, and she was just right in the front row. Saw the trailer, I looked over, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's and so that game in particular holds a very special place in my heart. I really hope that we get more of Star Wars Battlefront in the future. But yeah. So here's hoping. And then for game wise going forward next year, it really is just going to be that card game Zero Company, which is a strategic game. It takes place during the Clone Wars, and then you have Galactic Racers. So, and that's on top of all the Mandalorian Grogu movie, and then the other shows and stuff like that going on. So
honestly, they're dropping a lot next year.
Yes, we'll dive deeper into detail next week on everything going on for Star Wars next year, because it is a lot. There is a lot going on next year. But
which is exciting because I feel like this year was a little slow.
I mean,
stuff happened. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, it was, but it's weird because for this year in particular, we jumped from not having Star Wars Celebration in 2024, and then we jumped to 2025. And with it being in Japan, there were actually a lot of announcements. There were, not just announcements, but there was the pretty much the world premiere of Andor over there. So
Oh yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
get to see the first couple episodes. Um, and also Andor. Andor was just absolutely
Oh, for sure.
uh
It's so
incredible.
funny, we get to the end of the year and I forget everything that that happened. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that happened this year."
You also went through a lot though.
Oh, did I? Did I create a whole human from scratch?
It was the longest 3D print.
I know. You're welcome.
Yeah. Um
Yeah, I was a bit preoccupied this year, so
no.
forgive my memory.
No. Not at all. Well deserved. And then for other news, there is a small kind of glimpse of the new show Maul Shadow Lord. And the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a new comic that's dropping and it's kind of like a prequel to it. Um, but we actually know where it's going to take place. Marvel just announced a new prequel comic, Shadow of Maul, and it confirms the real story details for the upcoming show. The show takes place on Janix, a neon lit, crime soaked planet outside the Empire's reach, where Maul begins rebuilding his criminal syndicate from the shadows. Maul Shadow Lord will take place 1 year after the events of Order 66. And I think
He's wasted no time.
this is going to open up a lot of opportunity for different storylines that we were hoping that would be continued. I think there's a big possibility that we could see Ventress pop up. I think that would be super cool, especially with how well received her episodes were from Tales of the Underworld that
Mhm.
came out earlier this year. That also came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those were fun.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that that show is gonna.
Like, I'm assuming it's gotta lead into, like, the stuff with, Quinlan Vos and Kira, yeah? And
Yeah, yeah. No,
I was like, "Wait, did I get that wrong?"
you mean Quinlan Voss and Ventress?
Nope. Oh my gosh, not Quinlan Vos. Nope.
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Vos. Wow.
But
Are they related?
no, but Quinlan Voss is technically alive at this point because he helped open up the path
Right.
from Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then Ventress hears about that. So I could see that happening, but again, you have to remember that this is 1 year after the
Yeah, no,
events.
I
And
definitely
think,
did not mean him.
yeah. And not only that, maybe we could have a small crossover with maybe something happening with the Bad Batch, because the Bad Batch also, it doesn't happen 1 year, like 1 year directly after
Do you think that
Order
their paths would
66.
cross though? I kind of don't feel like
I'm not thinking that them in particular. I think there could be different storylines that cross over, because the Bad Batch, no joke, ends like it begins right at the beginning of Order 66.
yes.
And then you have the show pretty much ends at the beginning of like the events of A New Hope.
Mhm.
So, and that's just because of the big flash forward. But I could see Ventress maybe continuing her journey, and we
Do
end
you
up.
well, I feel like she kind of strayed away from like the super dark stuff though. Do you think that her and Maul's paths would cross?
I'm not saying that she would have that alliance with Maul.
Okay.
I'm thinking that their paths would cross in a weird way.
Cuz I
Um,
mean that would be a very interesting interaction,
yeah.
like, two people who were scorned by
Dooku.
Dooku. I'm going to get everybody's name wrong in this podcast. Cuz that what, like shared trauma is always a bonder.
I mean, and if Star Wars is not that, proves that indication, then I really don't know what does. But I am very excited for that show. My guess is that that's going to happen the first half of the year. I think that's what a lot of people are having that same suspicion too, and then you'll have um, probably my guess is that these past couple of years we've had the tradition of them doing some type of uh chapter into the into the tales, like Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Underworld. And I think that they'll continue that and they'll choose some characters. I don't know what they could do. They could do the Rebel Alliance.
Oh man,
So it could be
endless. I think there's endless
like
possibilities. I mean, and they're doing
lighthearted.
characters that I wouldn't even necessarily think, like Barris. I don't like Barris. She hurt my girl.
That
But like, like
yeah,
characters that I wouldn't necessarily think I want to know more about you or care.
yeah.
Still interesting to watch.
It's so crazy too because the animation is from all the way back from 2008 of when the Clone Wars started to where we are now. The visuals are just stunning.
Oh, beautiful. It's like I think my favorite style of animation, that Clone Wars style. I don't know what the texture they get in there is just it's stunning. It's just I would watch those kind of shows
Yeah.
forever.
And that makes me super excited for Maul Shadow Lord. Because we are getting back into the animation again, and I was really curious on how they would carry on that animation because they did that for the Bad Batch. So I think this animation and just the show is going to be very dark and gritty, just because of the like time and place that this is taking place in.
I feel like a lot of fans have kind of been like asking for something a little darker and grittier.
I agree.
So I'll be interested to see if it is like very much not for kids or if it's kind of like that happy medium.
I don't think it's going to be really for kids.
Or is it going to be one of those things where like the kids don't realize it's not for them,
right.
Like it goes over their heads and like the adults are like, "Oh."
I don't think it will be on the Andor level. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Just because we are going into that into an animated story, but in not saying that there is animation that like all animation is meant for kids because it definitely isn't. But I think the beautiful thing about Star Wars is that Star Wars has always been meant for kids, but every single person watching Star Wars, I think, has that inner child in them, and that's why it speaks to them. That's why it speaks to me. Just because every time I watch Star Wars or hear about a new project, I get really excited. I feel like a kid again, and I think that's the beauty of it.
The key to really great like storytelling and making shows for kids is having them also appeal to adults. Like there are so many like quote unquote kids shows that I can watch and still get enjoyment out of.
Bluey?
And like Bluey, well, I love Bluey, but I think that's definitely a kid show with little hints for the adults. I guess, yeah. But yeah, I think that's the key to making a really wonderful, like I think of like a lot of Disney movies, right? Like even though they're definitely made for kids, like I can still watch them as an adult and you still get enjoyment out of it. I think that's the key to making a really awesome kids movie is it's not like too over the top cheesy. Like it still has a great story, great lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also think that like because Star Wars has like grown so much and like you can't just like, yeah, it originally was made for kids, but as those kids age, right, they still want Star Wars.
Right.
We still want Star Wars. So they have to kind of adapt, right? So they have to keep that in mind as they keep creating new projects.
I think Andor was a fine example of that. I've talked to different people, including parents, and this actually ties into us being parents in a way because there are certain projects that maybe you don't want to watch with your kids. For example, with Andor, I've heard from some people that they didn't feel comfortable watching it with their kids just because there are certain themes and certain things that happen in that it's I think what's great about
you gotta know your kids too, like if you know that it's going to be fine. Like, your kids.
Yeah.
But I think the fun thing is that like, just because they can't watch it now, like they can watch it in a few years, like it's not like they'll never get to experience it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is that if you don't like certain projects, that's okay, because
Oh, you're not going to love
there are
everything.
so many different variations of Star Wars now. And it's crazy to think about it all the way back when you and I were kids, because all we had was the original trilogy and then the prequels,
Yeah.
and then you had, the original Clone Wars cartoon, and then you have the games. But now you've got endless content. You got so much Star Wars content, and cannot forget about the comics and the books and everything from Legends as well. But now it's absolutely insane. There's so many shows, so many games that are all canon. And if you want to truly enjoy what Star Wars is, watching all of that and playing all that and reading all that is very vital. But going back to what I was saying is, if you don't like one project, I guarantee you there's going to be something in Star Wars for you,
Mm-hmm.
because it approaches all different types of audiences now, um, than it used to. So
Yeah, absolutely. Because you have to think, like, they can't just do the same thing over and over again, and like, you can't please everyone,
No.
right? There's like certain things, like you could watch a show with your best friend, and there could be things about it that they love, but you don't. Like, it's just different people like different things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I think that's the cool part, is that there is something for everyone.
Mhm. Yeah. So that comes out next year as well. There's going to be a lot to look forward to next year. And speaking of next year, in January, we're taking Hayden to Disney for the first time.
Ooh.
And I am beyond excited for that, because as I was adding stuff to the cantina slash studio, and we were planning stuff for a trip, I was reminiscing in a way for when I was a kid, and I was thinking about like the first time that I went to Disney, and I was exposed to all of this. And I should probably say the first time I remember going to Disney, because we actually were a Disney family. But I think what's super exciting is that with doing this kind of stuff, it's really going to broaden Hayden's imagination. And I think that imagination is vital to growing up, because it can help inspire you to do absolutely incredible things. And I think that's why I love, film and just storytelling in general. And I think that's such a huge vital part of who I am. And I think that Hayden being exposed to it maybe earlier than I was, will help inspire him even more, as well. And I think that's the beauty about going to things like Disney, and then having a part of your house like you're stepping into a different world, because it's just going to help spark your imagination even more. So I'm very, very excited for him to go to Disney and see his reactions, even though he'll
Right.
be 8
He's
months.
he's
Yeah.
technically not going to remember any of it.
No.
But I saw someone say something really awesome, because a lot of people are like, why would you take your really, really young child to
Mhm.
like Disney when they're not going to remember it? And it's like, well, yeah, but I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember. Like, he's going to get to like, he loves looking at things. He loves to like explore
Yeah.
and like look at things. And I'm like, he's going to have so much to look at.
Yes.
Like, I just think he's going to love the dark rides. Like
Yeah.
all the things moving around and the different lights. Like, he's going to love that. Like, even though he is not going to remember it at all, I'm going to have that forever. And it's still an experience. Like, I don't want to like deprive him of experiences just because he's not going to remember them.
And I think the other thing too that I'm just gonna tap in and talk about of a tiny bit of what you said is that he's not going just to go. I think he is going to absorb a lot of different things in the environments that he's going to be going into, like of the different colors and the different environment. Um, and also he's at that stage where he is developing his personality. So I think that's going to be really cool to see. And we're not going alone. We are going with our
Lots of friends.
with our found family, and that's going to be a lot of fun to hang out with them, and then have Hayden just be in that environment with them as well. So we're very, very excited for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I haven't been back in a couple of years. Not pregnant.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna ride all the roller coasters, every single one.
Yeah.
Okay, not every single one, but well, maybe.
I miss the days where we were cast members and where we could just get off of work and be like, I mean, if we weren't blocked out, of just being like,
we weren't blocked out.
well, yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. But I just remember being like, I had a long day. I'm going to Magic Kingdom. I'm going to buy a turkey leg, and then I'm just going to ride Space Mountain 6 times and then go home. And we could do that. So I love doing that kind of stuff.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There back in the old days when Fast Pass existed. I worked at the Beauty and the Beast restaurant in Magic Kingdom, and if I was getting off of work at the right time, I could book myself a Fast Pass for one of the rides, and then get off of work and then go ride the ride and then go home. Back in the day.
Right.
That was a time.
I also loved of having the opportunity to clock off of work and then also go to Galaxy's Edge and just, it was really funny because one of our main goals when we moved to Florida was to work at Galaxy's Edge. And the fact that I did that in that short period of time when I was told it was going to take a while to get there, and I got there and was absolutely insane. And I loved working there. And every time that I go back to Galaxy's Edge now, it feels like I'm stepping into the past. And it's the people that I met there that made the experience even more worthwhile. So I'm really excited to see and hang out with some of the people we used to work with, and also go with some of the people that made some of those great memories as well. For example, when I all the way 2021, it was right before so in 2021 got like
when you first started?
Right. I was over at the Skyliner, and then
was it 21 or was it the end of 2020?
It was 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of us kind of blocked out that time.
But the really interesting thing was that I was over at the Skyliner. I applied to be over at Galaxy's Edge part-time because I was told if I got applied for full-time, it wouldn't.
Disney has, certain rules for transferring.
Yeah.
And so just per those rules.
Yeah. And I remember one of my best friends, Hunter, came in. I used my guest passes, and then, we went to Galaxy's Edge. He saw the Falcon and all that stuff, and that was such a cool moment to see him experience that. And then I think it was like a week later or something, I got done over the Skyliner. I went to my favorite restaurant, which was the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater.
Oh yeah, over at Studios.
Yep. And
such
then
a fun experience.
Yep. And then I went to Rise of the Resistance. It was raining that day, and I remember I came home. I was soaking wet, and then you weren't in Florida. You were in Michigan at the time because we were getting married in a month or so. And I got the email saying that I got the transfer and that I was going to be working at Galaxy's Edge. And it was absolutely insane because I was told I wouldn't be able to get over there for at least a year. And I got there within a month, and I was overstatic.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Because that was rather unusual.
Yeah.
To get the transfer that quick. Because Galaxy's Edge, as you can imagine, was a pretty hot spot. Like a lot of people wanted to go over and work there.
Yeah. And I I was very nervous about the training and all that stuff over there, uh, because it was a lot of learning, and I've never worked harder in my life because
You did. You worked super hard. You
I
wanted to be the best.
yeah, and I just wanted to know that ride front to back, and I did, and I passed my assessment, and then after that, um, I got uh, I passed my assessment, went home, got married, came back, and then a week later, on the day of the official 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom, I got the email saying that I was going to be there full time. And it all happened within like a month span. It was
Yeah,
absolutely
and that's also rather unusual. It's because obviously a lot of people want to be full time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it all happened so fast, and I was just like, that was meant to be. That was the force.
Yes. And like I said, every time I look back, it feels like a dream. But every time that I go back to Galaxy's Edge now, it feels like I'm stepping back in time. So very excited to experience that with Hayden, and you and our found family over there. So I'm very excited for it. But yeah, so there you go. If you didn't know about my full backstory of how I got to Galaxy's Edge, that's how. There you go. But yeah, I think that's it. I really don't think there's anything else to really talk about. I mean, there's always stuff to talk
There's
about,
always
but
we could stay here all day.
so many Star Wars stories. But just a recap, really important. 2027 Scum and Villainy Rendezvous Cantina. It's going to be a thing. Go to the Star Wars Celebration Facebook group made by Virtual Cantina Network. Go and check it out, and see if you want to be part of the founding fleet and all that stuff. And again, there's going to be so much happening with VCN next year. Stuff over Rebel ScumCon. Just us in general will be traveling nonstop, and I'm going to be doing stuff for Countdown City Geeks as well. So it's just going to be go go go. But yeah, go and check out our Instagrams. I've been posting a lot of different interviews, fun facts, and everything. Go and check out Instagram for the Virtual Cantina Network. We got some really cool stuff on there, and including exclusive interviews as well. Go on their YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. Do you have anything?
No.
Well, there you go. Okay. Well, with that being said, my name's Colin.
And I'm Brooke.
May the force be with you.
Forever and always.
Forever and always.